related?
Yeah, so it's
where
called,
does that fit into the timeline?
it's called Oakcord. It came right before Unghost Me, and I was very lucky. This is kind of a web of my close contacts. So Oakcord is an OSHA compliance business for, excuse me, small medical, dental, and veterinarian offices. And traditionally they managed all of their compliance through about an 8-inch 3-ring binder.
Ooh.
With just tons of worksheets that people had to go and initial on a daily basis, or after they completed a task, or it's just a lot of overhead in managing this specific binder. So we took that and we put it online using a web-based application, and it's still in its infancy. The gentleman that approached me with the idea, he is actually one of my best friends, my attorney as well, and his mom had a business that does all of the 3-ring binders. So they saw kind of the writing on the wall and said, we want to be one of the first ones to go completely online. So they came to me and said, hey, we'd love to make you a partner in this business. Can you build it? And so that's how Robert and I got started in terms of building Oakcord.
That's great. Had you done anything in OSHA compliance before, or that was all Robert?
That was, yeah, I had never dipped a toe in OSHA compliance, but he is an OSHA and HIPAA compliance guru.
Okay. And is that in a state where it's growing, or is it still developing the product? Or
so Oakcord is, we're kind of in an extended beta period right now. So we have clients on that are using it, that are paying us to use the software and everything, but we have not pushed the pedal all the way to the floor in terms of scale. We believe that it's going to be probably one of our most successful businesses as of now, and we're really looking forward to pressing the go button in 4 days.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
While you're moving into a new office.
Yes, and actually I'll be out of town in New York City at VaynerMedia.
Interesting. I want to hear about that. So did you raise any outside money for these two businesses?
For Unghost Me and Oakcord, they're both completely self-funded by me.
Okay. And same thing with Refinery House and
Refinery House, no, I actually raised a small initial round for Refinery House.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting.
Through an angel investor, not a fund or anything like that. So yeah, we actually, when we decided that we were going to add the marketing agency side to the business, I knew that it would take me a few months to kind of get it going. So I went ahead and raised a round just to give us that initial seed layer of capital to be able to scale without being constrained.
That's great. So Oakcord, Unghost Me, and Refinery House, you're effectively running all three of those at this point.
At this point, yes.
And how do you typically, is it reactive where you're mostly just putting out whatever the current fire is, or are you able to be proactive and plan out where you want to spend your time?
Right now we're kind of in the transitional phase from going from reactive to hopefully proactive, and all three businesses really. We've added enough clients in the Refinery House to where we're have plenty of work to do, so it's keeping everyone busy there. And then in Oakcord and then Unghost Me, right now they're pretty tame businesses right now. I'm waiting for something to catch on fire because it's been a few weeks without a late night phone call. So I know, yeah, exactly. I know one's coming at some point very soon, but we're transitioning to be more proactive. We're hiring some kind of manager level staff right now to help keep the fires extinguished.
Yeah, that's challenging, especially if the three. I'm imagining that when things do catch on fire, it's, all three at once is probably the way that it usually will happen. Wow, that's great. Are there any synergies between the companies at this point, or?
So Unghost Me and the Refinery House, absolutely, because if we're approached by or recommended to a business that we can't help through the Refinery House, whether that be they have limited resources or just not a good fit overall, then generally we can help them through Unghost Me at least a little bit to get them some initial lift, get them pointed in the right direction, and be able to do a little bit of consulting through Unghost Me.
Yep.
And so that's been a neat thing to say, oh, well, this business, it's not a good fit, but over here we can help you.
Okay.
So yeah, the people have been generally very receptive to that.
So what type of corporate entity did you create? I'm assuming it's 3 separate ones.
They are 3 separate businesses.
And are they all the same type, all LLC? Or?
They're all LLC. We're going to make the S election on the refinery house here pretty soon.
Okay. Interesting. So you're an attorney's dream, creating all these entities. You mentioned Robert is a good friend of yours. Has he been there from day one, or have you had to work with outside attorneys otherwise?
So since the later Iridium days, Robert has been around, and so I can call him one of my very best friends, and he's been really just a huge blessing in terms of helping us navigate day-to-day stuff, high-level planning, company creation. I mean, you name it. He's been just a really key component of our overall growth.
That's great. It's very rare that you hear someone say they love their attorney.
I know, it's crazy. You know, he probably will not love that I say this, but he's one of the attorneys that dislikes a lot of other attorneys. Okay. So he's a good one.
I can't say I blame him. I love my attorneys, by the way.
Yes, on the record.
Other than mine.
You deserve all 275 of your hourly dollars.
So at this point, you had exited so you've exited 2 companies, and you've got 3 that you're actively running. How different was selling the second company? Obviously, you weren't selling to Foursquare the second time.
It was much quicker. It was much smaller. There was a lot less red tape to that exit than there was the first one. I can say that they were almost completely different in terms of no similarities other than company gone and cash this way. So I'm looking forward to the third.
Are you giving us some foreshadowing here?
Not officially, not for any one of the 3 that we're currently working on. You know, I think just hopefully it's inevitable.
Sure. So Iridium transforms into the refinery house. Do you think of the founding of Iridium then as the founding of the refinery house, or was there a moment? Because for us with Level, I like to tell people that there were really 2 foundings. There was one where Chris and I started the company, and we called it Ladder Partners, and then there was another founding when we took on a third partner, and he helped us rebrand it to Level.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
And so for me, there's a group of founders. Even though Chris and I were the original, Matt came on. He was very much a founder because he helped us rebrand it and take it a different direction. Do you think of how do you think about that same dynamic? Because you actually had a different entity. We didn't. We just renamed it and completely shifted the branding and the focus of the company.
Yeah, that's fantastic. No, that's very wise. For us, I think it's a little different. You can definitely trace our lineage back to Iridium just simply as an agency that provides a service for a customer. But really, when the refinery house name was born, I immediately knew that I wanted this agency to be better than any other agency that I've ever owned or seen or been a part of. From day one, we've kind of really pushed